White text appears on a black background. The following work was created and filmed at Théâtre aux Écuries in the fall of 2021 and summer of 2022 on the unceded First Nation lands of the Kanien'kehá:ka, Huron-Wendat, Abenaki, and Anishinaabe. Imago Theater is committed to connecting and working with First Nation and Indigenous artists and arts workers to make space for their stories in order to create a greater understanding of what living here now really means. A 4x4 grid of 16 rectangles playing videos appear. Over the second row of videos are the words "Upside Down" in large white uppercase letters. Over the third row, the same words are mirrored. The majority of the videos show the interviewees who will be featured in the documentary from head to shoulders as they sit around a table in conversation. Everyone wears a blue medical mask or a cloth mask, with the exception of an unmasked person joining the discussion via video call on an open laptop. During the documentary, when interviewees appear, a caption with their name will be read out, followed by their physical description. White text appears on a black background. Week 1, Exploration Week. During this portion of the documentary, footage is shown of the creative team in a large rehearsal room, seated around 4 tables pushed together to create a rectangular shape, or experimenting with different movements in front of a projection screen.
One of the things that is central at Imago Theater is our obsession with accessibility. And so we've been investigating different ways of making theater accessible to a variety of communities in a variety of different ways.
Curators Micheline Chevrier and Christina Culiandro are seated in front of a dimly lit set piece of a raised wooden shack-like treehouse draped in pieces of fabric and creeping leafy vines. Micheline is light-skinned, has short brown and silver hair, and dangling silver hoop earrings. She wears a beige cardigan with 3/4 length sleeves over a black V-neck blouse and black pants. Christina has olive skin and silvery highlights in her pinned-up, dark, curly hair. She wears black-rimmed glasses, a loose indigo blue denim blouse with shoulder cutouts and mid-arm sleeves, and black pants.
In November 2021, we entered a week-long workshop with our team, and we were looking to come together and create a story that we could use as the basis of the exploration to include audiences who were sighted as well as blind, and audiences who were hearing as well as deaf. We had our consultants with us as well. Tina and Clank were there, and Jen was there, and so the conversations around the table were really, really rich. And then we went into exercises as well. Most of the team were not actors. I think that was very interesting for all of us to kind of be in positions that, you know, we're not usually in. And then Mireille, who wrote the text, pulled from those exercises and created the story.
Writer Mireille Tawfiq is seated in the rehearsal hall. 3 members of the creative team are seated at the tables behind her. Mireille has light brown skin and short, dark brown curly hair that frames her face. Wisps of baby hairs line the top of her forehead. She wears dangling coppery brown inverted triangle earrings and a knit cream cardigan over a soft brown V-neck shirt.
What stands out to me is how hard it is to grasp someone else's experience.
Can we create it in a way that is normal to other types of demographics?
Consultant Jennifer Roberts is seated in the rehearsal hall. The empty tables and chairs are visible behind her. Jennifer is light-skinned and has smooth, chestnut brown, shoulder-length hair that is pulled half up. She is wearing a moss-green, long-sleeved top with horizontal ridging. As she speaks, she gestures with her hands.
So deaf theater has always been around. Deaf actors exist. They've always performed. American Sign Language has always been on stage. How can we collaborate with hearing and deaf artists to work together in a piece that is accessible to both deaf and hearing audiences, for example?
Cinematographer Pablo Pugliese is seated in the rehearsal hall. The empty tables and chairs are visible behind him. Pablo has olive skin and a shaved head. Shadows of stubble are visible just above his ears. He has a full dark brown beard with silver hairs amassing at his chin. The dark gray collar of his shirt peeks out of the V-neck of his matching knit sweater.
Ultimately, the question is, what is the theatrical experience? And how can we nourish it and change it to make it accessible as well for as many people as possible?
Set and costume designer Diana Uribe is seated in the rehearsal hall. The empty tables and chairs are behind her. She has olive skin, and her short curly hair transitions from silvery white roots to light brown. She wears silver hoop earrings, a collared short-sleeved blue, black, and cream plaid button-up over a long-sleeved black shirt.
To create something that is interesting for them and that they get the same value of the things that a person that can see or can hear will get.
Lighting designer Chantal Labonte is seated in the rehearsal hall. The empty tables and chairs are behind her. She is light-skinned, and her dark brown hair is pulled back into a ponytail. Strands fall loosely over her ears and at the nape of her neck. She is wearing a peach-colored, flower-patterned, short-sleeved mock turtleneck blouse under an open gray knitted vest.
There might be different ways of expressing light as well, not just lighting a scene, but who am I lighting for? What are the intentions of the light? And how can I reach more people with light?
Sound designer Jackie Galland is seated in the rehearsal hall. The empty tables and chairs are behind her. Jackie is light-skinned and has chocolate brown, straight shoulder-length hair with bangs that rest just above her eyebrows. She's wearing a black crew-neck t-shirt beneath a black hooded zip-up hoodie with 2 white lines running down each sleeve.
So for me it's about, because I'm looking at it from a sound perspective and oral perspective, when I create something, how I can keep certain things in mind, how I can use what I do in this context.
Projection designer Amelia Scott is seated in the rehearsal hall. The empty tables and chairs are behind her. Amelia is light-skinned and has long, dirty blonde hair with wispy bangs. Her soft waves rest just below her shoulders. She is wearing oversized, delicate, gold-rimmed circular glasses, small hoop earrings, and a black V-neck blouse.
I think where I'm getting to, and I think where the group is getting to, is that there isn't one form that is perfect for everyone, but it's looking at the tools that we have and how we can use those tools in different ways.
Dramaturge Emma Tebaldo is seated in the rehearsal hall. The empty tables and chairs are behind her. Emma is light-skinned and has ash-brown, shoulder-length hair with gray blonde highlights, flipped-out ends, and side-swept bangs. She wears a loose brown knit beret, turtle shell-rimmed glasses, and a black-ribbed long-sleeve shirt with a mock turtleneck.
Who gets to tell the story, or how does the story get told, or can they just be part of the cast of actors, and therefore by their being actors with different abilities on stage, that a story then gets transformed.
I feel like I'd have to spend at least a couple of weeks with someone who is blind and ask them a lot of questions to even create like a secondary character.
Can one story really truly reflect a varied array of experience? Right now, I feel like I'm saying, no, it can't. That story needs to shift and adapt itself depending on who we're reaching or who we're including. I guess that's the dream, is that we could all be in one room and hear the story, and somehow we're all involved in it or touched by it.
Because accessibility is not just an interpreter on a stage. It's not just description on a stage. It's thinking about human beings, the different types of human beings that exist, that consume art, that express art, and what that looks like and what that can be, and how it really opens up the discussion and the types of art that we consume.
We don't take the time to investigate why we make the work we make and how we make it.
I don't think there's any end to how broad and wonderful accessibility can be. It's just going to be an ongoing conversation, and I think the commitment to an ongoing conversation is what is really important.
It's about the experimentation, it's about the process, it's about taking the time, it's about thinking, it's about talking, it's about sharing, it's about creating and then recreating and then creating again, and really thinking of it as small steps that lead to somewhere, but we don't know where that somewhere is yet.
Consultant Leslie Tina Mintz is seated in the rehearsal hall. The empty tables and chairs are behind her. Leslie is light-skinned and has long auburn hair with silver roots. Her left eyelid droops lower than her right, and the apples of her cheeks have a rosy glow. She is wearing a black and white checkered bomber jacket with a black collar.
It's a broad sort of process where people are bringing so many different personal elements and experiences to the process. And I found that very fascinating, and I felt useful in giving my perspective. So that was comforting to me, because I didn't know that I would be able to do that, and it turned out that I was.
Consultant Clank is seated in the rehearsal hall. The empty tables and chairs are behind him. Clank has pale skin and closely shaven gray hair. He is wearing a red cloth mask and a bright yellow t-shirt under a dark brown zip-up hoodie. His white cane rests against his shoulder, its wooden handle hovering near his left ear.
When folks were saying it's almost impossible to serve every individual's need, as far as, say, accessibility goes, or someone even mentioned financial accessibility, who can afford to come to the theater. And but to wrestle with the ideas, hope that some of these ideas will be wrestled into future performances, and that I might have a chance to come and check it out.
White text appears on a black background. Week 2, Creation Week. In this portion of the documentary, footage is shown of the creative team working and being filmed both on and off stage. On one part of the set, 2 women sit on the floor inside the raised wooden shack-like treehouse, draped in pieces of fabric and creeping leafy vines. The 3 walls around them are a patchwork of metal sheets, wooden panels, and fabric. They both use American Sign Language. On another part of the set, actors perform in bandana-style masks in front of a floor-to-ceiling clear plastic backdrop that extends out to drape loosely over angular objects of different sizes. Splashes of blood red and aqua blue color are projected on the plastic surface. Curators Micheline Chevrier and Christina Culeandro are seated in front of the dimly lit treehouse.
Why would certain people want to come see a story that also has nothing to really do with them? So the other factor was thinking about blind and deaf actors within the story. And so Mireille took that and then created characters that accompanied the sighted character and accompanied the hearing character, and so creating this equitable story in a way.
Performers Jennifer Roberts and Clank are seated in front of the plastic backdrop. Jennifer's chestnut, shoulder-length hair is pulled back into a half ponytail, and she wears a gray V-neck tank top tucked into light-wash blue jeans. Clank is wearing a white medical mask, a fluorescent orange t-shirt, a red fanny pack, and bright yellow shorts. His left hand rests on his knee and holds his white cane upright.
This was a new piece, a new creation. So there's a lot more liberty in creating a script that is already more accessible to more people from the start. And it's way easier to incorporate auditory description, dialogue before the production starts, as opposed to a prescriptive type of accessibility that happens after.
The script came up to a certain evolution. Then Christina and I took the script and realized that the best way to do it was to split it in 2. The first half of the play, which ran for about 11 minutes, would be done specifically with the blind character and for blind audiences, and the second half with the deaf character and the deaf audiences. And then we went into production
One thing we really discovered was the importance of, if we're going to do audio description while a play is happening, it's really kind of more fun and interesting if that person who's doing audio description is live.
The excellent work of Alex, who portrayed the documentarian, she describes a great deal of what's going on, so someone, blind or visually impaired person in the audience, might be able to have a pretty strong sense of what we're doing. Of course, I don't know at any point, did she say how beautiful we are?
Not enough, in my opinion.
No. That's missing, but now at least we're having the chance to tell you here.
That's right. We're gorgeous.
Performers Alexandra Leferrier and Brian Dooley are seated in front of the plastic backdrop. Alexandra has brown skin, and she wears her hair in long black braids. She is wearing a dark rose-colored scoop neck shirt beneath a black zip-up hoodie and black pants. Brian is light-skinned and has gray stubble on the sides, back, and very top of his otherwise bald head. Gray-rimmed glasses hang from the collar of his cream-colored button-up short-sleeve shirt. He is wearing taupe, gray, and white plaid patterned shorts.
I guess I was surprised by, all the elements that have to be considered, and just the different ways how accessibility is not just on camera, it's also allowing for other team members that have different needs, how they are integrated into the group, how accommodating we are, while giving them their own autonomy.
One thing that we did very early on in the process, which I really appreciated, was that people would announce themselves. So someone who was speaking would say their name and then say their part. And that's good for blind and visually impaired folk, but that's good for everybody else too, because then you learn everybody's name.
Everybody had to start thinking like Clank, our blind actor. So our brains just went right into that awareness, which was incredible, challenging, but rich, very rich in how it affects rhythm, how it affects everything. Same thing happened on the deaf and hearing impaired side, like same thing happened.
Performers Jennifer Manning and Jennifer Roberts are seated in front of the treehouse set piece. Jennifer Manning is light-skinned and her dark brown hair is pulled back with a light blue butterfly clip. She wears mahogany-colored rimmed glasses, a cream crew neck shirt beneath a suede olive green button-up jacket, and light wash blue jeans. She is using American Sign Language. Jennifer Roberts has her chestnut brown hair tied half up, and she is wearing a black fitted t-shirt with a sweetheart neckline and black jeans.
This week has been an incredible experience. It's my first time working in ASL with an English team. I typically work in French and LSQ, but this is my first time performing in ASL with Anglophones. It's also my first time being filmed in a studio. I've been a part of short films, shot outdoors, but I've never been involved in a professional film experience like this. It's been wonderful.
So it was a constant process of learning and adapting, but again, everybody was prepared for that process.
When Jennifer came to me and she goes like, it's too much pattern on her shirt and we can read her signs. I'm like, because when you go for theater, the patterns are important to complement the skin tones, but then the learning was like, if the importance of the signs that they're producing, the rest of the body become just like the white canvas, and it should be something that resolved the hand.
It's nighttime, we want to have shadows, we have light coming through a window, but we still need to see the signing, right? And so it's like, okay, so that creates limitations or challenges in the way that you can light the actors as well, but still keeping it super visual at the same time. So it's like creating that night scene and finding out, it's like, oh, okay, so if I light this, or like the window, it's creating like a bar in her face, it's not gonna work. How do we, cut the shadows out and still, have that kind of fun, interesting lighting as well?
When, at the beginning in the quarry, when the guard comes in, everyone reacts. The children react, and they are stiff. And so how to convey that tension in a way with sound so that is communicated, that kind of the feeling of the room.
Framing for seeing the language, but I like this frame as well, and it's serving the entire project aesthetically.
Performers Jennifer Manning and Jennifer Roberts use American Sign Language.
I'm thinking about if I experienced any challenges on this. I'd say no. We had an amazing team and everyone adapted seamlessly to each other. I felt like my personal needs were quickly accommodated, which was wonderful. I have Usher syndrome, but faced no difficulties thanks to the team's mutual respect. It made my work experience smooth.
Jennifer, you mentioned your needs were accommodated. What do you mean by that? Could you elaborate?
For instance, when I couldn't see the clapperboard, we arranged a light hue further away that would flash to signal action. Or Jen would tap on the wooden floor because the cottage set was made of wood, which allowed me to feel the vibration signaling my cue. We developed visual and vibration signals to support each other.
What I find interesting is that in the past, sighted or hearing actors would often be cast as blind or deaf characters and pretend terrible. Right, but those actors would have to study how to imitate being deaf or blind, leading to mistakes. Over the last 3 days, we were working with a blind actor who isn't pretending to be blind, he just is. This meant we could discover together what accommodations were needed and how we could make adaptations. As for you, you're deaf, meaning there's no need for pretending or inaccuracies in how to show that. We could immediately identify what we needed as a team, how to communicate and depict things realistically. For example, tapping on the leg or a shoulder.
Right.
It's already within us. No need for research or figuring out how to show it.
Right.
It happened naturally by just being.
Right. Deaf people are highly visual and attuned to vibrations. It's true.
It's so important for the team to come together with consultants, with actors, with everyone, and have those workshops and have that initial time to talk through everything, to just understand things before you enter production, or to get a step up and to kind of learn to be maybe less precious about some things, but also open your consciousness. Like for me, the experience was very much about like an openness of consciousness.
We really have kind of a rigid development system that we follow for production, and with this process, the really intricacies of how our day was scheduled was quite fluid because we weren't sure exactly what the needs were going to be at exactly what time, and so it's just about remaining open to maybe not doing things as you normally do them.
The dynamics are different even if you have one actor, one blind actor, or 3 deaf actors or whatever. The dynamic's going to be different for sure. So keep yourself completely open and learn from them. I'm a great believer in let them take the lead, whenever possible.
Keep your mind and your heart open and just look around and slow down. Right? Which I think is a good advice. But no, because we do take things for granted.
It's really not that hard to adapt to a different style of communication if everyone starts in that same place. Like if you all just work together and do that quick mind shift, it was pretty, I don't want to say effortless, but there's a conscious effort that then becomes the new norm. So it might be that learning process at the beginning that feels a bit bumpy and awkward. So maybe it's an insecurity or it just feels weird to have those bumps. But then after that, it does become the new norm.
We rarely use all of our gifts, really, in the making of art. And now I think I can use more of myself, and therefore more of what is in the room with me to make a theater project even more gratifying, fuller, deeper, richer. And I credit the fact that we gave ourselves the duty of examining accessibility, whether it was by making our work accessible through the digital platform, but accessible to a variety of experiences, both on stage and off stage.
Curators Micheline Chevrier and Christina Culiandro smile and nod. White text appears on a black background, featured in alphabetical order. Micheline Chevrier, Clank, Christina Culiandro, Brian Dooley, Roselyne Gagnon, Jordan Goldman, Jackie Galland, Chantal Labonte, Jennifer Manning, Leslie Tina Mintz, Brooke Nance-Kivel, Pablo Pugliese, Jennifer Roberts, Amelia Scott, Mireille Tawfiq, Emma Tebaldo, Diana Uribe, documentary cinematographers Andrew Andrioli, Haniel Ocho, technical and cinematography assistant Maxime Lehman, editing Pablo Pugliese, Maxime Lehman, featured ASL interpreters Roselyne Gagnon, Jordan Goldman, Brooke Nance-Kivel, excerpts of film Home as seen in documentary, written by Mireille Tawfiq, dramaturgy by Emma Tebaldo, performers Clank, Brian Dooley, Alexandra Leferrier, Jennifer Manning, Jennifer Roberts, direction Micheline Chevrier, Christina Culiandro, set and costumes Diana Uribe, projection design Amelia Scott, lighting design Chantal Labonte, sound design Jackie Galland, cinematographer Pablo Pugliese, technical support Maxime Lehman, consultants for blind or partially sighted Clank, Leslie Tina Mintz, consultant for deaf or hard of hearing Jennifer Roberts, ASL interpreters Roselyne Gagnon, Jordan Goldman, Brooke Nance-Kivel, set build for Home, Deaf or Hard of Hearing edition by Shop Dogs. The white logo of Teatro Imago Theater appears beside a rectangle playing a video featuring performers Clank and Jennifer Roberts.
Hakeem in the presentation doesn't have a cane. He's a little bit like Stevie Wonder. You know, Stevie Wonder just walks around with a supermodel, and I had mine here.